How's everyone doing? Happy Mother's Day once again to all the mothers and the stepmothers, the godmothers, the aunties that are mothers, and all the guardians that are mothers to the wonderful children that we have. I hope everyone had a good, wonderful weekend. I had a wonderful, fun filled weekend, and I'm a little tired today still, but I am a okay. I am a okay. I was thinking about some things over the weekend about what the topic was today when it comes to our children. And I know we just came off a high note of Mother's Day. And I'm going to be very sensitive to what I say and what I do. When it comes to your children's education, and I'm touching the subject again because some things are getting ready to happen right now. Something seriously is about to happen. If it haven't happened already, okay. With this pandemic, I know a lot of parents, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, guardians of our children have been stressed out. I get it, and I understand because you had to get some things that you couldn't get. You had to get computers, you had to get laptops, you had to get Chromebooks. You get to see you saw what your children were doing in school. Even though we asked them every day how was school, now we saw how was school. And I'm gonna use me only for example. Zoe was a IEP student for some time, and she no different from anybody else. And the pandemic woke me up to a lot of things about Zoe. A lot. Even though some things I knew, some things I wasn't too sure of. But I made sure this time I paid attention. The teacher she had, was, and then during that time we had DCF case. So at the same time, it woke me up to a lot of things. I paid attention to what she was learning. Paid attention. I think I remember my last child study team meeting in March of 2020. And the work she was doing was like first grade level. So we sitting here like, okay, I know she could do better than this. You hands on. At one point, there were times where they would have different functions at the school, and my work schedule did not allow me to be at these meetings, and they thought I was just one of those parents that didn't care. No, I'm one of these parents that work, and I can't make every meeting. But there was one parent-teacher conference that I was able to make it in the morning, and before I went to work, before I went to work. But that was only during a busy season at my job. Any other time I'm working, my work schedule did not permit. But I'm a single mom. This is the price you pay by being a single mom. You have to work, you have to be at meetings. You have to live on the phone when it comes to certain things that your children do. You have to be hands-on, a lot hands-on. And I'm not saying to parents that are very hands-on with your children, just fight for your children, be the only advocate. And so last year, Zach was already homeschooled. He was homeschooled like October of 2019. So during the pandemic, a lot of things opened my eyes to Zoe. We was waiting for packets to come to the mail for her homework. She was smart. She told me about the corona. Okay, even though I knew about it, I was happy to hear it from her about the corona. And she said they were talking about it in class. So I'm like, okay, cool. So still waiting for. I didn't know they were giving out Chromebooks. I didn't know anything. We had packets like this thing. So 2 weeks later, her packet decides not to come. So I got in contact with Zach's teacher, and she said, "Sure, not a problem. Let's get her in. Let's see where she's at." And I began to show her the IEP. If you're not familiar with the IEP it's an individualized education plan that the school system use to identify your child, to label your child, or whatever. So, or special needs, better known as that. Um, so we finally did get the packet. Before then, I sent her copies of what she needed to know about where she is, where she stands. Okay. Made no sense to her, and she's an educator. So we started her from scratch with her vocabulary, with her math. Everybody I know, about 60% of people hate math in class or in school, or they needed extra help, or they needed tutoring. I was one of the 60%, 70, 80%, whatever you want to call it. But we did more practical math for her. And mind you, people, we use math every single day. Okay? Whether it be measuring in the kitchen when it comes to recipes, or when it comes to money, or when it comes to time management. You mess with math every day. So with that being said, I paid attention to everything that they were learning. She was able to grow even more. She would be able to open her eyes to homework, okay, do some cooking. She needs some peanut butter cookies and all this other stuff. Great, fine. She learned how to do tacos. She learned, and then her teacher was saying, let her learn what you cooking, let her begin to watch you. And we're gonna do like make a recipe, tell me what you mean, send a video to me, we'll submit it as a math video, we'll credit it, but we'll also go over the math that we went over with her. And so when it came time for the children to come, she had improved tremendously. She did SAT words, and I'm gonna say this, it may seem small to some of y'all, but this child was like, I told you I wasn't dumb. She knew how to get on the internet. She knew how to do certain things. She knew how to do a lot. She knew how to do a lot. She knew how to, she taught her how to break down a word, the synonym, the antonym, if it's a pronoun or if it's a pronoun or noun, if it's an adjective or verb, the origin which the word came from, and the root word. And she learned all of it. She put on her reading glasses. She said, "Mommy, I got this." And the tears was running down my eyes because it's like, but y'all call my child dumb. I wanted to challenge her years ago. Everybody looked at me, she would always stay like this, right? She would always be who she is. She was diagnosed with cognitive impairment. That makes sense to me. But I had to fight. So we did have a psychologist during the pandemic for her. Because we had this incident where, you discipline your children, they gonna tell me, right? So we had DCF involved. So during that time, we had a team of people that would help her deal with her emotions, and we had a certified, legit psychologist. And they had her on medicine and all this stuff. And when the psychologist, seen her, mind you, we all virtual, she was like, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just a child. I'm not going to label her. I know that I gave her some medication to take, and Mom, you with her, so you had to stop medication because you see side effects. So as far as I am concerned, I don't see anything. I'm not, I've seen her 3 times. I don't see anything wrong with her. I see a child that need extra help in certain things, but I wouldn't dare label her and say she has ADD, autism, all that stuff. Because a lot of times they give our children these acronyms, and as a single parent in the community I'm in the hood I'm in, they assume we just want to label it ADD, ABCD, or whatever, OCD, whatever. So I didn't buy the label, and her school then didn't buy the label either. Like, we were like, nah, we ain't doing that. And over time, Zoe was doing good. She was absorbing the information. She did reports. I showed her how to effectively surf the internet when it comes to your reports. She knows how to do all these things like the regular children do. Great. So just imagine, I didn't leave Zach out at all. He was the same way. He's a young black, I'm sorry, he's a young indigenous young male that is very hyper. And those that know Zach, he'll run, he'll do all things. He's hyperactive, but he doesn't have ADD. He's smart as well. He was born. I was 6 months pregnant. I was 26 weeks. So he was in a hospital 2.5 months. But just imagine, academically, he didn't want to do it, but he knew how to do it. Okay, he's good in that area. So when you get tired of them labeling your children, like, what do you do? I went to a meeting with him for him, and they wanted to try it. Okay, give you background. His father has dyslexia. Okay, so they thought he was going to fall in the category too, that he has dyslexia. They was going to fall in the category that I hated math and reading. So they going to fall in line and say, okay, she has this, that, and the third. So we going to make it what it is. Nah. I had parents that fought for me, but I knew I wanted to do something different. So now I have 2 of my wonderful children in homeschool. And everybody said, how do you do it? It's called discipline. I had to discipline. I had to get them up early enough. Yes, you using the computer. At that time, I didn't invest in the computer. I had tablets. And they using tablets for everything. They using tablets for YouTube. They using tablets for games. I have a Kindle. They had Kindles at that time, so they had free time where I still have to monitor them when it comes on, when it comes off, and plus that they had TV. So it's a lot, and I get it, and I know I said a lot in that mouthful, and it's a little bit of time of that we just 13 minutes, and I'm gonna be brief because I know some of you gotta go, but and my thing is this: sometimes when they're people stereotyping children or in our indigenous people, our indigenous children, we gotta be mindful. Just because you may get finances for them doesn't mean we settle. And I was one of the ones that didn't settle. I couldn't. So we're still homeschooled. I'm looking, and things shifted. So I had to find more structure for them. So I reached out to someone that I know very, very well. And she was having the same situation with her daughter. But at the same time, she said, well, she haven't even seen a school, like building. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look for something else. And they needed more structure. And even their teacher that they had when they started homeschool, she said, we need more structure. Yes, I got upset. Yes, I got angry. Yes, I wanted to beat the ball and all that stuff, and want to call her some names I didn't like. But I got in contact with close friend again, and she said, "Try this. It might be better. It will teach them our history. Is they won't label." I had a meeting. So I said, "Okay." And during that time, they were closing out the semester. So we were emailing back and forth, and she was telling me about the school. I was able to join the group on Facebook, And I began to look at her accreditations and everything. Long story short, she was on Good Morning America and all this other stuff, so she's known to the indigenous people, to us people. So I'm like, okay, some people don't know her. She has students all over the United States due to the fact that she was opening, she did have a school, like she taught in Texas. And her name is Andrea Bazemore, founder of the Black Apple School. So it's based out of Texas, but she has students everywhere. So they were looking forward to that. I sat down and told the kids. They were a little upset that their former teacher, could no longer teach them. That relationship in our life is over. So out of everything they learned, they were like, oh my God, what are we going to do now? But this school that it's currently attending had a plethora of things about this world, society. They talked about the riots, about the riots they talked about. They talked about the Asian community, everything that came up in society-wise. We're not a prejudiced school, we're not a racist school, but we talk about the racial injustice of how people are treated. There are a plethora of things that they have as electives, like podcasting, yearbook, magazine, websites, regular classes like in math, you're reading and English. They have games for math to learn at their leisure, to build their math up. They have tutoring twice a week. They have, and mind you, we was meeting the other teacher 2-3 times a week. This one is day. And they normally finish, depends on the day. If they normally finish by 4 o'clock, they're normally done by 4 o'clock, if that. But if I wasn't as hands-on as I was, or God didn't open my eyes, I would have been blind to both of my children of not learning. I had to become hands-on to them. I had to understand what they were learning. Even when it came to transitioning into a new school, which we're going to try to, we're going to be here for a good length of their educational life because they go all the way up to high school. Some parents ask, what about socialization? You want to keep them closed in? I'm like, no. They have other kids. They have a group meet. Google Meet. That's what they meet on. And you have people from New York, Texas, New Jersey, Mississippi, Texas, California. You have different plethora of children that are in this school. So even in their leisure, on an off day, like if it's a Friday, after classes on Friday, they have a kickback social to hang out with their friends, like something like a study hall, and they talking about Pokemon, or they talking about Baby Burst, or they talking about what they doing about for the summer, and they have structure. And but guess what? They don't have all the hard books. I didn't have to buy a notebook. I mean, I had to buy like 1 or 2 notebooks, but guess what? The founder, she has materials that she sends us. And whether it be the book for the month or the book for that class, I know with Zoe, because she has journalism, she has a book for that class, and they have an open discussion like they would if they was in traditional school. Zach has phonics and math time. He has math tutoring. She has reading tutoring. So you have that time. It's not all fun and games. But my thing is to us as parents, be supportive of your children. If your teacher give you a bad report, don't beat the teacher up. Don't beat the child up. Be there with that child. Turn the phone off, if you would. Get off. I mean, I know we have busy lives, but you have to dedicate some time to your children because you don't want them to lose and fall through the cracks, corners. of the school system and saying and having them labeled. I know some parents say, "Oh, my child is naturally fluent. He won't do that," but we don't know what they always doing at times. So we got to be mindful. We got to be careful. We are the only advocate that they have. And I fought until I got to the right school. I wanted them for this moment. We have parent meetings every week. We don't miss every Wednesday. So a lot of times, if I'm on my Bible study or when we come back from Zach's baseball, of course they eat, of course, and then I'm tuning in. If I'm not tuning into my pastor for Bible study, I'll turn it on so we all can hear. I have to leave out of that, and then I have to go to a teen parent meeting that the school has faithfully every week from like 8 to 9 to go over some issues, some concerns, some questions we may have. And our school is yet growing. So I say all that to say this. Wake up to what your children are learning. If they need, see what they're learning. I'm not saying you're not, but be careful, be mindful. Yes, they get overloaded and over stuff, but one thing about my kids' school now, they believe in self care. Like if you're not feeling good, if you're having a bad day or something like that, they ain't gonna crucify you, but they want to make sure you're doing okay. You're able to make it today. Even down to the founder, if she's not feeling today or whatever, she has to have self care for herself. A lot of times, and I'm gonna give you a good point. If your child is not in school or and by then, she got on Facebook, like she'll name the parents. She'll go to the group page, and she'll name the children's name, and she won't tag you, but that's accountability. She let us know they're not in, or whatever the case may be. So this is why we have to be important and invest in our children. Yes, it's not free. I have to pay for 2 children, maybe about 150 at the most every month, but I'm getting materials. They on Google Meet. They have their own emails. So they have Google Classroom is teaching them basically how to about the computer more in depth. Zach first day, he was like, "Well, I'm on a computer." Zoe was happy with it. Zach was like, "What's this all about?" He took a step back because he knew he's used to Zoom or something. But to have your own email, to have your teacher correspond with you, to have the one-on-one attention, and yes, some parents in this school are teachers, so they're able to help out. We have everything covered. But if I wasn't at such a hands-on parent, I had to make sure they were learning, and they're learning a lot. And they were really excited about interacting with other children. They were excited. They were like hungry for it. But they were looking for other kids to identify with while being homeschooled, not fussing each other. But they were able to be with other kids their age. They were able to log on. Like today is Monday. Zach has phonics and he has special for vowels and consonants. Zoe has nothing up until 4 o'clock. I think she has journalism today. So, they're learning, and she incorporates so many things to help them learn. So, we also have summer camp. We're not going to be academically during the summer, but they're going to be learning other skills as well. Different sciences, what is it? Accounting. They're gonna be learning life skills. Gonna be gardening, and there's so many things they're gonna be learning during the summer. They off the month of June because my teacher relieves in Juneteenth, so they have the whole month of June off. But she will be testing some kids to catch them up where they are to where they need to be and where they're comfortable at. She will be having parent-teacher conferences, like you would during the summer semester to see where your child is and to catch them up to where they're comfortable. So when school year starts in August, they'll be prepared. The only topic is how do we promote is one of the questions that we've been asking, or that was asked of us as parents. What do we need to do as far as promotion for the kids, and do we promote them on based on the work, or do we promote them because they attended class? Or it's a and we have these meetings every Wednesday, so that's one a big heavy header for us because we all want to decide for our wonderful child or children what we want them to have. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's nothing really wrong with that. We just need to wake up. We agree as a parent because she believes she wants to talk to the parent. She cares about them, and she generally do. I'm gonna be quick too, and as I close, she gives them monetary things to earn points if you completed the classwork or the homework, and they could buy something off Amazon under that amount. I know Zach now has $5.10 towards Amazon, and you can use that. It is redeemable. So she gave them an incentive, and this is the introduction to accounting for the children. They build our own website, and they would be getting paid. Well, not Zach and Zoe because they wasn't in that class, but they have different things classes that they're involved in, and it's a wonderful thing. I cannot express it enough. So I got on here to say this. Pay attention to what your children are doing, especially not so much college, but when it comes to elementary and middle school. No, I'm sorry, preschool to elementary, from elementary to middle, before they even get to high school, because they could be throwing stuff down our children's throat and we don't even know it. And we need to pay attention to what's being said, what's being taught, and are we willing to fight for our children? We have to be able to fight. You have to not give up. As a mother, I can't give up on these boogers because they know I fought for them hard when it comes to their education, like my father had helped me. But I'm not saying that some of you parents are not doing it, but we have to wake up to reality. If they want us to settle for Johnny has an OCD disorder, honey, let me tell you, Johnny will get a therapist to talk about how long he had this OCD and how he feel about this OCD. Johnny will get all the resources that he needs to beat this OCD, and he'll no longer be labeled. And I believe in that. If it's therapy required, use your insurance card and get therapy for them. If they need extra tutoring, reach out to some tutoring centers that probably are not open, but they're probably virtual. Ask around. Hey, look, we're on Facebook enough, right? So do some recommendations. You need some extra help for your child. There's nothing wrong with that. And trust me, Facebook will answer. I've seen a couple of people on my friends list that may need assistance in certain areas, and they'll reach out to Facebook like that, like, hey, I don't know it all, but how we gonna do this? And they're seeking for help. They're hungry for the knowledge, so they're better for their children. Okay, that's all I came up here for. Nothing too bad about beating children up, but just to understand what's going on now before they go into high school and overwhelm themselves. Let's get them now to understand what's going on. And if they need extra help, let them know they can lean on you, but as they're leaning on us, we're leaning on different resources like tutoring and different resources that's going to help our children to grow. And let me tell you, it's working. It has been working for me and my children. It has. It has. So listen, I'm not going to bore you long. And that's all I came up here to do. I was second guessing, do I want to do it today? Because I rested yesterday after I came home from church. But I said, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to spread what I did. And if I can be of any help, of any assistance, excuse me, let me know. The school is enrolling in summer camp. And at the same time, if you want information, let me know that could, give you over to my founder. If you want to know more about the school and that, let me know. It's not a problem. And like I said, it takes discipline. to sit down with your children, to learn a new craft, to learn a new skill, to learn something new. Even right now with Zach, he's learning baseball, right? Yeah, he know how to do baseball, but he learned the fundamentals of t-ball. So he's doing softball in the summer. She wants to do the acoustic guitar or piano, and he also learns the drums. Not to mention, they have the whole month of June off, but they'll be testing to see how comfortable they are and where they are academically and what they need more help on. And then in the summer, I'm gonna see if I can find soccer for him. But keep them together, and we must take a vacation. This year, we must take a vacation. Uh, Probably, um, I'm a, if they have their meetings early portion of June, or if they're testing early portion of June, I'm gonna see if we can do it the last 2 weeks. Plus, not to mention, he'll still be doing baseball up until June. So, they may have the month off because they wind it down to the last 2 weeks of the semester, and they're getting them caught up to where they need to be and where they're comfortable. And I believe this will work across the board. They will be continuing the same school in August and up next school year. And they enjoy it because they like the interaction with other kids their age, and they love it. They absolutely do love it. So listen, keep our children in prayer, surround them with positive, impactful people that's going to pour into their lives and impart into their lives. And parents, yes, I know I get overwhelming, but sometimes we got to sit down, we got to talk, we got to have meetings just to see where our children are. It's not all about what's sports for me, but at the same time, they have that time to they have a community within their school, a plethora, but they also have outside. I don't keep them all cooped up. Believe me, I don't. They won't allow it. And like I said, we have to take vacation this year. We're gonna take 2 vacations this year. We're gonna take one if their testing is over. We're gonna take one in June for a week, and we're going to take another one in August because we need another vacation. So we're overdue for vacations, and it's not that we didn't have time. We were going to go last year, but the COVID happened. But this year, I promised them we need to go a week somewhere, and we all agreed that it will be Boston. I want to take them to Fenway Park, to see a game. We always saw a Yankee game and a Giant game live, but that's part of our time. And he want to go to Legoland. She want to go to certain places too. So with us, just like even when we vibing together, just to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city life, we should be able to do that. So it's no harm done. And then once we come back, rest up a bit, July 5th, they'll go right into the summer program. Normally they at camp at the church. So it's like, what's cost effective for me right now, because I had to buy a Mac Pro for her, well, for another computer in the house. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay. It's a toss up. It's a toss up. You're like, do I want to buy another Mac Pro? Which I have to invest, and it'll be easier. And then that way, if one have class, and at the same time, their time is not clashing. But it's important for us to invest in our children and get them prepared for the next school year. Um, During that summer, and I was like, I can go let them go to church, but I don't want to overwhelm them either because she said, Mommy, I want to do softball. So I said, okay, that's not a problem. So I just had to find softball or soccer for him, keep him occupied too. And then I'm gonna let them do certain days of the camp. So it's like I'm thinking, that's where I'm standing now. Just to decide the right thing that's cost effective for mommy. And that's it. Even though we love our church, we do. We just want, if they don't have it this year, we have a plan B. Because last year they went, but they didn't go on many trips. But the year before that, which was 2019, they went everywhere. These little buggers went everywhere. So we'll see, cost effective. And every year we do celebrate, our anniversary being moved away. We do celebrate that. So we'll be doing that first week in August because we're excited. We've been here for almost 3 years, and it's a beautiful thing. So many things that have been birthed out of 3 years I've been here because I trusted and obeyed God. It's a beautiful thing. So let me close out in prayer. If all hearts and minds are clear, if you have any additional questions, feel free to comment, share, post. This is my life. I just want to get on here and just spread the love, spread the love. So, Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you so much for allowing us to come together. Father, we ask you in Jesus' name to let something I said shared with these wonderful people. Let them be empowered and encouraged. Father, thank you so much for allowing me to have this space to talk about the goodness and the gracious things you have done for our family. Father, we praise you and glorify your name and forever and ever. In Jesus' name. That's it. And if this is your first time here, you want to know about the Lord I serve and the God I serve, repeat after me, Lord Jesus, forgive me of my sins, cleanse me from all of them, that I may live with you. And your Father in heaven, thank you for dying on the cross for my sins. And I want to live and serve you for the rest of my life. And that's it. If you prayed that prayer, welcome to the family of God. Welcome. If you need more information about your building a relationship with God, feel free to comment, like it, share it. Okay? All right, people, I got to go. Got a couple things that I got to do before they start class, and like at 1 o'clock. But listen, I'm here to give you all the messages of hope I could possibly give. And that's it, and that's all. Listen, enjoy the rest of your day. And listen, I'm going to give y'all a hint. Keep that same energy for Mother's Day. Do it for Father's Day, too. I'll talk to you later. Grace and pieces. Deuces.